WHMIS training. We live in a world full of chemicals. Everything around us and in us has a chemical nature. These chemicals can harm us in one way or another, and often we are oblivious to the hazards. In some cases, we spend so much time working with chemicals that we forget that they can pose a health or safety risk. That's where the Workplace Hazardous Materials Information System, or WHMIS, comes into the picture. WHMIS was developed to increase awareness of the risks involved in chemical use and to educate workers about safe handling techniques and procedures. It is a three-part system consisting of labels, material safety data sheets, and worker training. Many consumer chemicals are not included under WHMIS, but they do require proper labeling under our food and drug laws. All workers must be made aware of the potential health risks presented by the products that they may encounter in the workplace. All WHMIS-controlled products have been divided into 6 different classifications. Some products may fall into more than one of these classifications. Class A products are compressed gases. Compressed gases may be dangerous because of the contents, since they may be toxic, flammable, or corrosive. Examples of Class A compressed gases are oxygen, nitrogen, acetylene, and even the fire extinguishers found at your workplace. A compressed gas cylinder may become a projectile if the cylinder or regulator is damaged due to the high pressure within the cylinder. Class B products are flammable and combustible. Flammable and combustible materials are hazardous due to their explosive and reactive properties. Examples include gasoline, kerosene, and toluene. Even a can of WD-40 used in the workplace can be hazardous under some circumstances. Extreme caution must be taken with Class B products, depending on the flashpoint or sensitivity to static electricity. Class C products are oxidizing materials. An oxidizing material is a fire or explosion risk if it comes in contact with flammable or combustible materials. Oxidizing materials provide readily available oxygen, causing flammable materials to burn more easily. Even products not normally flammable may burn if there is an excess of oxygen in the area. An example of Class C material that is flammable could be methyl ethyl ketone peroxide. Non-flammable oxidizing materials include chlorine, chromic acid, and fluorine. Class D products are poisonous and infectious materials and are divided into 3 classifications. The first is Class D1. This includes materials that cause immediate and serious toxic effects. These can cause serious illness or even death due to a single exposure if exposure levels are high enough. Examples include carbon monoxide, sodium cyanide, acetone, and hydrogen sulfide. Class D2 are toxic materials causing long-term chronic health effects and may cause illness such as cancer, birth defects, or respiratory problems. Examples of D2 products are asbestos, mercury, and most solvents such as acetone and benzene. The third division is Class D3, which are biohazardous and infectious materials. Products in this case are commonly found in healthcare environments or laboratories, but are also present in many other workplaces. Even a first aid situation in an industrial facility may have a potential for viral contamination. Other examples are bacteria, parasites, and allergens from plants or fibers. The fifth class is Class E, corrosive material. Corrosives are materials that can attack and destroy human tissue, clothing, and even metals on contact. Both acidic and alkaline products fall into this category. Examples are sulfuric or nitric acid, chlorine, and ammonia. Class F is dangerously reactive material. A material is classified as dangerously reactive if it reacts vigorously with water to release a toxic gas, becomes self-reactive due to shock or an increase in pressure or temperature, or if it undergoes vigorous polymerization or decomposition. Examples would include styrene, nitroglycerin, aluminum chloride, and acetone nitrile. There are two different labels used to identify controlled products: the supplier label, which is applied by the manufacturer or supplier, and the workplace label. Supplier labels must be placed on all controlled products sold or produced in Canada. The label must show all required information and must be printed in both English and French. The distinctive WHMIS border on the label makes identification of controlled materials easier. This border indicates that the product is controlled and may present a health or safety risk if not handled properly. The workplace label is used if an existing label has been removed or becomes hard to read or damaged. The workplace label is also used when transferring a product from the original container to a smaller container to be used by a worker. There are some exceptions to this requirement that cover reaction and process vessels, piping systems, and very small containers for immediate use. A material safety data sheet lists all of the potential hazards presented by a product. There are 9 required sections on an MSDS, although more information may be given and it may be separated into more than 9 sections. The product information section lists the manufacturer and supplier, and the intended or permissible product uses. This section includes an emergency number to call in case of accident or injury. The hazardous ingredients section details the hazardous components present in the product and in what percentage they occur. The physical data section indicates whether the product is a liquid, solid, or gas, and what it looks and smells like. The toxicological properties or health hazard section details the potential health risks posed by the product in acute or chronic exposures and generally indicates the most likely routes of entry. It is very important to understand this section as you will need to take steps to ensure your health and that of your coworkers is protected. The fire or explosion risk section indicates whether the product is flammable, and if so, under what conditions. The preventive measures section details the steps to be taken to control exposures, including engineering controls such as ventilation as well as any personal protective equipment that is necessary. The reactivity data section lists potential reactions with other products or chemicals, or if the product may be sensitive to sudden shocks. The first aid measures section provides the information needed for an immediate response in case of exposure. This sheet must be sent along with the worker if they need to see a doctor as a result of exposure to the product. The preparation information section details the person or group responsible for creating the material safety data sheet and the date it was prepared. This will indicate whether or not the MSDS has expired. Chemicals need to contact or enter the body in order to cause health problems. There are 4 common ways that this occurs. Inhalation is by far the most common route of entry for workplace chemicals. Anything that becomes airborne can easily be inhaled into the lungs and may pass into the bloodstream from there. Another common route of entry into the body is absorption through the skin. This is possible if chemicals touch bare skin or if the airborne vapors come into contact with skin. Ingestion of chemicals is less common, but is possible if food or drinks become contaminated. Personal hygiene is very important when handling chemical products. The last route of entry is injection, which usually happens with a needle or may be caused if a worker suffers a cut or scrape with a contaminated piece of material. It is critical that all workers understand the potential risks of product misuse and be thoroughly trained in their use. This training should be as specific to the workplace as possible. Workers must know what protective equipment to use, what procedures to follow, and what to do in case of emergency. Every chemical can pose a health or safety risk if not properly used, and every person handling chemicals needs to understand how to prevent that from happening.